So let's go to all the letters. Now the practice. Now I will go to all the letters. Now I will go to the theory itself. You have Q, V, and G on the first level. Where do they start from? From space. It's the first level. They start from space. Here it is also about, let's go to the rules. So let's go from the local rule on Earth and in space and so on to a global rule. And so we make that comparison. So we have that general focus of our context and a local focus. And that's what we make the comparison to. We can have it already on the first level in just one of the 1, 2, 3 frames. We can already have an idea where to find it. You have the Q here that starts to find a comparison to the general focus and the local focus. The V will go in between. It also is excellent between the two timings. You will find also the position of where can I take something out. I will have that explained better in one of the next frames, and you have the G as well. So how can I explain these first 3 letters? Of course, there are compensations as well for things that we do not see immediately. They are bridging a little bit. They are also bridging space to timing as well and to context. They will go into that direction. And in a way, Q is from space to timing and context. It will try to find the right time. That's what you also can associate it in the logic from there. While the second level is more the timing itself, so it is that time bridging context. It's trying to give to time it. So this is the right time. This is the right time. I see where the right timing is to pick something out. And the G is then more in the third level, trying to find its destination. We'll give more examples that you understand it better. So we used now also the helping tool of the horizontal, the first level, the starting level. So we want to continue actually something. We want to continue a starting point, which we can't in a fixed way as in space. So we have also a starting point, an initiator from space. We want to start something actually that we want to depend on, that we can use it all the time. It's not possible to use the same formula all the time, to have a focus, a starting focus always in the same time. No, we have to adapt. We have to adapt, like I said, the local rules to the general rules. And from space, you can actually associate it with a starting point that you can use the whole time is your goal, and that's what you have. Q, a good example was the word that I use more often in the tarot. You have the Queen. The Queen tries to measure how the global rules against the local rules can be put well into each other, so that the two parts or two communicators understand it itself well, so that it will become useful, what I say, what I do, what I decide, and so on. So that's more or less the idea. The second letter is about development, so it is about that further development of continuation. So I have the goal to look for what I can I can use from one timing to the next timing. So what I can also with the material, what I can move actually from one moment to another moment, because I cannot pick it out from space immediately that I see, okay, I can predict it beforehand. No, I have to pay attention on all the rules actually that says, no, here's time to change something. I can change something. And the last degree, the G, will be also with the continuation. I want to have a continuation, not in space, not in timing, but also in context. I want to have a continuation that I can keep my context, and that's using your appeal to a continuous feedback interaction field. That is my goal actually to go to, so that I have something that I can be inspired to use it as the general rule into the local application. It's still a bit abstract, but I will give more examples. So the Q is then also the idea, what can I keep on initiating actually, because the impulses one time it's positive, then it's negative, so I have to adapt the whole time. I have a desire to use a starting position and its movement the whole time, but I have to give attention to it the whole time as well, because that's the only way how to keep a balance between these global rules and local rules. It has to adapt the whole time. Same thing for the V, where you also have at one time it works, at the other time it does not work. It's and you do not see that. You do not see where beforehand, let's say. So you have to adapt the whole time. You have a desire for that changing position and movement the whole time, but it's not there immediately. I will come to the example very quickly. And with the G, also have that desire for that goal position and movement the whole time. You want to know where the things land to in the end. Basically, you have to follow the rules of the definition. The rules for Q are, a very good example is the word Q, wait for your turn. You want to start things all the time, but you have to adapt. You have to have an adaptation. You have to follow the basics. It's that horizontal of the beginning in space. It's using the starting points, so on. But you have to adapt to the basics of the definition. There are some definitions. There will be some rules. You will notice these rules. Follow these rules, and everything on its turn, because sometimes someone else will make the starting point. Something else will be the starting point, and then it will be yours. And that listening in feedback to where you can make a starting point, or where you can make a starting point, listening to it is very important, and that's that aspect of Q. You have to wait your own turn. And that also means that you not focus on what you want, but on what the general rules are and where they can be applied locally to what you want, for instance. And then because you focus on the general rules, you will simply follow what is needed, and so the starting points will be there where they are needed. Second example, the V, what you take out as material then is in that level of movement. The green arrow means a very good example. With a very good example is the word van, which is not the car, but it is that which says what. It's about movement. It moves when it's needed, just like the van, the car as well. But van means in the Dutch word means from, so or belonging to. Means that the objects, the things, they also will move from one person to another. You have to wait for it before it's yours, and now you focus on the general rules, and you see, okay, this one belongs to that person, this belongs to that person, that thing belongs to there, and that thing belongs to there, or that thing needs to move or change, and you adapt. That's the way of focus. That's the general rule, and so on. With G, a very good word as an example is the word good, and good is that example. It's also about results. It depends on the results. These results depends on responses, on feedback, on interaction, and when the feedback interaction is good, it's good. Only then you always depend on these results in the end, and to the responses as well. And that's how good is defined. It's not even the definition of that it is really good or not. It gets you a good result because you react to it accordingly. That it's according to your someone's desire or someone's goals and so on. So that's how the good is defined. The good is also about things as well. So it depends on how you define it, how the responses to this definition occur. And of course, lastly, of course, we also have the frequencies. This is just theory, so is this also true in what we recognize in the letters and how we hear the letters? Yes, it is also true. It is the same thing that will have our attention. Just like in the timing that you had, oh, I hear something changing, and oh yeah, I hear the change ended, and that was happened during the changes. Here you hear a lot of things, maybe also changes, but you cannot follow very well what are these changes doing. So your main focus, or what you can do as a main focus with Q, V, and G, is that you have attention to what you can, where you can have a continuation. And here, the continuation in Q actually says I can have a continuation in following up where I can make where there is a starting point, so I can keep my attention open, that I follow up the whole initiating moments. The second category, so these are the patterns that you will also recognize. I didn't work it out completely yet, but that will be a very good pattern that you can use to understand the frequencies as well. Here you also have differences, but you can still follow the body. You can still follow the continuation. You can see that the full body keeps itself together, even if there are some variations in the V. And with the G, also there you can have attention to where the resonances is making up the balance actually, and so you follow up that recipient at that point. Basically, that's about the frequencies where you can recognize it, and you hear with the G, you hear the resonances, and then you sense the balance as well. So that's basically that you respond to it as well, to what you hear. The next level is the in-between zone there. That's the three positions there. The first position is related to the quite emotional or instinctive sound of he, followed by h, and ending with r, the r. And they have that starting point, continuation point, and the concluding point as well. And now about framing as well. So the framing, of course, is trying to find first the timing. It's the second position. It's trying to find the timing. So what kind of timing can I have from context? Because it's basically about context already. Let's go to this in-between zone and see what it is. It also says the context decides, the definition decides. The bigger context decides the initial timings. So when I want to start a timing, it's the context which will decide. So I do not decide that, for instance, I will start something. No, when something is needed in the context, then a timing process can start. That's how also why it is about the positive, because it cannot be something else than positive. But when a timing process is able to start, it also means, yes, we can do something with it. The context demands it. It's good that it's there. So it's positive. The bigger context allows a starting point to be there. That's good. Second position is that the context allows, here it is in the in-between zone, complete in-between zone of movement. So it allows progress. And the context also says, yes, here, the bigger context says, here you can make progress. So it's the area, the breath, which says, here it's a very good opportunity where you can make progress. The whole zone of breath is where you can make progress. The context says it. The environment says it. The space of the breath says it. It's there. You have space for it. You have openness for it. This context says, yes, here you can have attention that something can make progress. Yeah, you can make progress there. You can have your attention is free there. The R is then about conclusions, making conclusions, and also about, because it's about movement and timing and so on, it will connect to the timing, it will conclude the timing, it will conclude the connections. This bigger context allows its finalizations. So when something can be finalized, it's defined in that position of attention. It's also into, actually, so the first zone was into, in one focus you understood it already, in one frame you could understand it already. Here we need two focuses, theoretically, you need two focuses to understand it quite well. So the first frame, the context itself will decide. To the next thing is the timing, the context knows how to start the time. That's the next aspect, actually. So the context there is these open frequencies, like I don't know the English. It's that open structure. Here you have the starting point of time. So yes, I know the context. I can find the starting point of time. That's my initiator of the positive. Here, the in-between zone is the continuance. So the context knows how things can be worked out in all sense, in the material sense, in the timing sense. All of it can be worked out there. And in the R, the context knows how to conclude or to connect. It's conclusive very clearly. That's the order of letters. It's conclusive, and you have these borders there at the same time. So, in another way, the frames themselves, okay, it is a bit, for me, unclear if I have to fix them or not, but you can have them in a logical sense as well. So I have this as an example, let's say, that they express quite well context to timing, context between two timings, and context from timing are framed a little bit in that way. So the positive is the time start context, the H, the right time to progress, and the R, the right time to finalize, are somewhat framed there in my focus. It's about focuses, so how you express it might have some variations as well. So don't do that. Don't see that as with some overestimation of what it is. But it will be practical when I use it, because there I will see the three timings as well with my helping tool, the vertical. That means I will want to take out the highlight of the timing that I will take out there. The timing from space is optimal in the positive, the time start context. The timing is progressing in the right time of progress of H, and the right time is finalization, and also finding feedback as well in this red arrow. When I look up the frequencies, also there my attention will be symbolized by the same thing. So you have here within these three zones of where I recognize something, I have my biggest attention will still be most practical, that I give attention to what I can what I can take out and recognize, or what body I can recognize, or what feedback I can recognize there. Where are these attention? I have to work this out, how we use them within words, because the attention we give in words is also connecting all the letters that are there. So it will have an influence of, I have an idea that I can connect them better. I have an idea that here I have a little bit more space to give attention to. That kind of idea. The third degree, or the third level of this focus, of this context-based focus, is also in the way we have an order. We can start with it, we can continue with it, and it works quite well. And here it is at the edges of how we can do that. It's at the limits of what we can really use this focus. It's at the limit of the focus itself, and we're not so dependent anymore, or we cannot depend so much anymore on what we want to make from it. We're totally dependent on the feedback process, the resonance on top of it, where it leads to what we also already no longer see. So it leads to somewhere where it is already beyond our observation field. So this is the area where the context do not stimulate everything like the last time. Here it will limit really the possibilities, while itself the frequencies and so on are becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, but we ourselves have nothing to say. So the context itself will decide completely. That's also why I have a turning point in the arrows there as the feedback process, which turns back towards you, so into the negative sense as well. That's the limitation. So you have a maximum of limitations in this case. So you depend also. So there are three phases. The first phase is about starting points always. And so it is telling us we do not know anymore how to start it. It's at the edge of what we can understand, and it's beyond our scope. So we no longer know where to start. And this has very vast consequences. In fact, it says you're not capable of starting any process at all, of any understanding at all. The sound that is related with it in the numerological system, it's that emotional, instinctive sound of really as one sound, not as but as and that's a way of saying I don't know, or you don't know, or just leave it. It's beyond the system. It's outside the system. You can't, and it's also related or associated with the negative. So when you do not know where to start, when the timing is not clear, when something can be timed, it cannot be done. It's negative, and if you would try so, it will not work. It simply would not work. So that's the first stage, where you start from space and start to localize what is it and where is it. Can't be seen. It's beyond your scope, so you can't do anything with it. Realize that. That's very important. The second stage is you do not know how the progressions are, or how to get somewhere, how the changes are happening, how we could change anything. It's not a total disadvantage. The first stage was a total disadvantage. It was even negative in that point, but here it's not a disadvantage. So starting point is not mentioned, but it is, the end point is still limited. That's true, limited by the context, but it is there. So there is a limited possibilities of what can be done, and the arrow actually Where does it lead to? Accidentally, it goes to the second stage of the timing. Timing is always in two parts. The timing is before and after is actually also like, here it can be done. This needs to be done. This is the thing that needs to change. That will be the change. The second stage of the timing is, here can be the timing, and that's where it's also directing at. It's directing towards what you actually need. And it's also related with the sound E. E. I will come to that, how you find it, because there's also responses. Here it is about the desire. I want something, but I don't know how to get there. It starts, before you come to E, it always starts with a discomfort and not knowing also how to come there, with intuition, with idea. You do not know how to get to the results or make the results, but you know the end goal, you know where it has to land to, and what needs to be done actually in the concrete sense. And that's what will get you there, not the way how to do it, because that needs to be followed up. Everything in the context based is something that needs to be followed up. Like the bird, you need to follow it the whole time. You cannot predict it beforehand how you have to follow it up. You have some patterns to help you. That's why the last letters are there for. The last stage is also about the borders of the border. So it is really at the edges, and you have no clue where it will end. Until where can we have the borders? It's beyond your reach, and it can reach to anywhere. The patterns that will be visible in the frequencies as well. Sadly, I cannot check all of them because I don't have the tools to change them. Will also be about that aspect, that we can gradually progress with what we do, but it's not really much of a sound. The second one with E will focus towards changes in responses, in resonances, and also the last letter will be also into the higher frequencies, and will give all attention to that, to the changes, to the danger zone that there is also, because it's unpredictable. It's more or less already a resume of that. So we are very dependent, or even completely dependent on how to start. So negative, we're dependent on the responses, how to get there, but we have, if we really want, we know where the attention has to go to. The same thing with S. We are totally dependent on that feedback. We don't know how big it is. It is what it is. It's not negative, it's not positive. It's just a whole set of what comes to us. And I describe it here also with the responses to it, with the reflections, with the resonances to it, because it's not only the desire that I want something and I want to get there. Here it is the minor thing. We want to receive it, but we don't have much of an influence. The influence will be dominated by context, from the responses, from the feedback, from the interaction. And what will be the interaction if you do not know where to start? What will be the response into the timing context? It's negative, of course. You cannot time anything because you don't know where to start. Very logic. The E, on the other hand, you know that there is progress, but you don't know how this progress, how you have to go to the progress, because you have a different method. You don't know the method. We're not used to it. It's not common. There's not really a method for it. But what you do know, there is a potential response there where we can focus upon the change itself. It's there, the change that is needed. You do not know how it is changing, but you know its goal of change, so that's a very good thing. Last thing with the S, you cannot see its conclusion, of course not. So, but it's there. It's that total response is there. There is, you can see also at the same time where the limits are from that, how limited it is or how big it is in its responses, in all of its effects. With the E, it is a possibility that I can insert it because the creation itself says this is needed in the changes. It's that second change of changes. I am able to insert it, even if I don't know what it is, and it's in the timing itself, how we understand it. It's also first that discomfort. The idea that you have first is first coming from a problem. The intuition that you have is also first starting from not knowing, not able to do anything. Never forget that, where that starts from. Once you know that focus, that the context itself will decide and will give it to you what you need to do for it, then that will be an inspiration. Otherwise, it can't. It's the general rules that you have to look for, not your rules. Your rules will not have. You cannot do anything there. So I hope that's already a little bit closer to what all the letters are in the understanding for you who was listening to this video. And it will also give you a clue where to recognize it in the frequencies and where to look for. Not all of the visions, especially not in the last video, maybe not that much, are very worked out, but they give you a clue where to look at. The idea how to look for it and how to work it out in a word, and where the attention then at that time will go to, I will work out in another video. Of course, that's also quite extraordinary that we no longer look at the moment itself and decide immediately, or in the timing says, okay, there's something changing, let's go. Here we go to the full word and make us a kind of distance rearrangements and almost give a feedback to the word itself, that we say, okay, we know because these letters are in it, that with the H we have a little bit more time, a little bit more breath to also show its progress, get its progress done, and so on. Or the R, that okay, there are connections in time and space within that word. How that has to be done and how that is done with associations is better that I do that in another video, and I express that in another video. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. Thanks again for watching. Bye.